To find one of these big pieces of jasper in a rock wall and being able to get it out, as you look at it when you get it out, it's just like shooting a 6-point or 7-point bull elk.
Of all my rock hunting, down through the years, I considered it one of the best, rare, better, fruitiest stones there ever was.
Gerald Scarrow and Gene Anthus have spent their lives mining in one of the most remote reaches in Idaho, the Bruneau Canyon, whose walls protect long-held secrets of a different time, an age when miners made a living from the colorful lodes found within its walls, and memories and friendships were forged in pursuit of a unique stone, the Bruneau Jasper. The Bruneau River cuts a canyon 60 miles wide and 800 feet deep on a north-south line through south-central Idaho, near where the Jarbidge River joins the Bruneau. During Idaho's volcanic geologic past, hot water coursing through subterranean fractures carried minerals that, as they cooled, became colorful banded rock formations. Between 1958 and 1970, Scarrow and Anthus located claims on both sides of the river to mine these rocks, which collectors know as Bruneau Jasper. For Gerald Scarrow, working as a contractor for a local lumber company, a chance meeting one afternoon started it all.
And this old gentleman came by and he said, "I'm going to the Bruneau Canyon." So 4 or 5 days later he came back and he had 2,700 pounds of Bruneau Jasper in the back of his pickup. And I said, "Well, look like rocks to me." Well, he went down to Bliss, and 3 or 4 hours later in the afternoon he came back and he had $2,700 in a paper bag. And here I was making $1.50 an hour doing carpenter work, you know.
Gene Anthus's love of geology and his natural surroundings began when he was working on a ranch in Elko, Nevada in the mid-1940s. After attending to his cattle feeding duties, he would spend his free time searching for interesting rocks in the desert hillsides.
I was 48 years old and I quit the job and went to the Bruneau Canyon. And I bought an interest in one of the owner's claims. I had to give him $35,000, and he took the money he got from me and paid for the claim. And I found that out through the BOM.
Gerald and Gene began mining in the 70s, rolling out the nodules containing jasper in its raw form. But they didn't fully realize the value of what they were unearthing until they began taking their finds to rock and gem shows. Gene's first show was the annual gem show in Quartzsite, Arizona, that attracts rock hounds from across the nation.
First time I was ever there, and somebody knocked on my camper door, and I opened it up, and he says, you got a Bruneau Jasper? And I said, "Yeah, I got 70 pounds. And I reached and grabbed and handed it to him, and he had, at the same time, he handed me $700.
Bruneau Jasper miners were tough and determined. There were only a few of them who could really read the rock to determine where to dig for the jasper. Later, when a couple Californians showed up with $5,000 cash in hand to buy Bruneau Jasper, Gene knew exactly where to find it.
I went over to one of these places where I'd seen a little seam of Bruneau. It was just very thin, running along, and I drilled 4 holes and uprooted it, and nodules just rolled out on the ground. And I was almost amazed. And we sacked them up, and it was actually $5,800 worth.
The real collectors of the world, they want the best there is, and there is none better.
But the best never comes easy. The one road in and out of the canyon is one of the worst in Idaho. Navigating it is one of the costs of doing this kind of business.
We started coming out of the canyon, and it had rained, and it had snowed, it had frozen. There was ice on the rocks. So I chained up the rig, 4-wheel drive, and started up the canyon, and I started sliding backwards at night. The chain finally caught a rock and stopped us, or we'd have went over the canyon.
It's the worst road I've ever on, and it has actually killed me more than once, even with the going backwards, like Gerald says.
Collectors say the Jasper's unique colors make it irresistible. The most desirable are the picture Jaspers, where geologic forces have created surprising artwork in rock of rare beauty.
And there's a little dove right there, and he looks like he's sitting on a nest here. And there's a cave back in behind, and it just looked like the picture of a dove that you'd take in the, you know, if you're out in the wildlife.
What began as a chance meeting for Gerald and Gene taking afternoons off to go rock hounding has earned them great respect among jewelry makers, museums, and fellow rockhounds from every corner of the world. They removed their last Jasper in 2005 and have relinquished their claims, but still answer yes when asked, was it worth it?
I've been doing it 50, 60 years, so it's just been our life, you know, rockhound life.
It was fun to do, and I never had to work for wages after I went down there.
I speak in schools once in a while to the children. And when I'm done with my talk and showing them the rocks, I say, you kids be very careful. This stuff's highly addictive. And it is.